Alright, so we're doing a cockatrice game of competitive commander. My favorite format. Had to mulligan that hand. This hand looks good. So let's do all of our pre-game actions. Well, not really pre-game actions, but just, setting up the game. We rolled a 2. Oh, but the person to our right rolled a 20, so we're probably going to be going second, which is still good. Honestly, with this hand, I don't even want to go first because I have this Gemstone Caverns. So I'll talk about the deck in a bit. Maybe after the game, I'll do a breakdown. I think I'm going to just get rid of this Isochron Scepter. It's kind of a dead card in our hand. So let's just look at the colors of mana that we have, because we need to essentially cast our commander is the first step of this deck. And so we need the 3 different colors. So we have 1 color, 2 colors, and then that's like 3. So we really need 1 more. Before we untap, let's actually just cast this Brainstorm. It's a really good combo piece, but all right, so I'm gonna throw that on top, and then we can just draw this Soul Ring, I guess. Untap, upkeep, draw. So we drew the Soul Ring, and I don't really want to draw that ritual because it's not super great. So let's just, actually we can't go off, right? 1, 2, yeah, we still need all of our colors. I'm actually just gonna play this Soul Ring out, and then we have all 3 of our colors. So this Ancient Tomb is good, it's not great. I might just actually play this Mox Diamond just in case someone plays a Mystic Remora or Esper Sentinel, and then we'll end our turn. So I don't really want to draw that ritual, so I think I'm just gonna fetch with this Scalding Tarn, get the Grixis Trio. Looks like we're gonna get turn 2 Abbadon. I have to reveal my hand to the Niv Mizzet player because he casts a Gitaxian Probe. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. So we have Niv Mizzet, which is a good card. I was honestly thinking about running it in this deck, but the fact that it costs 3 blue and 3 red make it a really hard card to cast. So they looked at our hand. Other players are asking what I have. So about our deck, essentially we have our commander. During your turn, spells you cast from your hand have with mana value X or less have Cascade, where X is the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. We really don't have any way of making players lose life other than smashing in with our commander. I mean, we have a few creatures in the deck, but we are a burn deck by no means. Holy shit, this guy's going off, man. He casts a Ragavan. How much mana does he have then? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if he puts a charge counter on the Jeweled Amulet, he could have 6. He casts a Ponder. Man, the Niv Mizzet player did go off. I mean, it does look like a fun deck. Niv Mizzet can't get countered either. This is always a decision that I struggle with. Whether I cast out my free artifacts on turn 1 when I can't really use them, but they're unlikely to be countered or trigger any Mystic Remoras, Rhystic Studies, anything like that, Esper Sentinel. Then it alerts my opponents that yes, he is going to be able to cast his commander on his next turn. I'm just gonna crack this Scalding Tarn now. I don't want any mono white shenanigans saying that I can't search my library for shit. So I'm just doing that now. So the Heliod player casts a Roadside Reliquary, which is pretty good. Draw a card if you control an artifact, draw a card if you control an enchantment. So a land that you can sacrifice for actual card draw, for card advantage. Oh nice, and we drew an island. So I am just going to cast my commander. Let's see what happens. So we have 2 blue players at the table. Okay, so the cards we have in our hand, we have Deadly Rollick, which is a free spell that triggers our Cascade, which is really nice. It's also just like a good removal spell. And then we have Grinning Ignis, which essentially you pay 1 red to be able to cast a 3-mana spell like over and over again, which triggers Cascade in our deck. And we have 3 red mana currently, so that's really good. It also goes infinite with Burgi. So if we get Burgi out, that's like an infinite number of Cascade triggers from our deck, and we can cast literally every 2, 1, and 0 mana costing spell in our deck. Well, that's in our library, not in our deck. So that's really good. It also like gets infinite storm. How we win with this deck? How do we win with this deck? We have a Thassa's Oracle, and we also have a Aetherflux Reservoir. So we can either just win the game by milling ourselves or drawing our entire deck, or just Aetherfluxing everyone and shooting everyone for like 50 points of damage. So honestly, this deck could use another win con. It's also extremely light on interaction right now. We have Chain of Vapor for interaction, we have Deadly Rollick, we have Force of Will, and then we have a Deflecting Swat. I would like to put in a couple more slots for free counterspells. I want to put in the blue counterspell. Let's actually pull up a deck list right now. So we are playing all of the wheels. I'm playing Force of Will. I put it in for this game. I want to put in Fierce Guardianship. I love these free spells. Force of Negation is not great. It's not as good as Force of Will or Fierce Guardianship because it's only free when it's not our turn. We're only really comboing off when we have our commander out anyway. So that's why like Fierce Guardianship and Deflecting Swat are so good in the deck. And then I am also playing the black version of that cycle. Yeah, so they're killing our commander. That's fine. I'm just gonna kill Ragavan. Thank you. Exile target creature. I mean, we could have kept it in hand to try to kill Niv Mizzet, but Ragavan's really good too. So basically now we need to draw a wheel, anything. Another land to just recast our commander. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. How much is this Grinning Ignis? It's only a 2/2. If I just draw mana, if I draw a land, I'll just recast my commander. If I draw, I mean, that's the thing with this deck. It's almost all wheels and like rituals or ramp. If I draw a ramp, if I draw like an artifact ramp that is like 2 mana, like a signet, I'll play the Grinning Ignis. Just because I can like bounce it back to my hand. But yeah, if I draw an island, I'm just replaying my commander. And I mean, yeah, I am just gonna smash in. It doesn't really do anything for me. Oh, wow. I just realized I should have kept this Deadly Rollick in hand, because I was just gonna be able to play my commander again. What is chat saying? My plays are kind of being gated from me by some kind of dragon. I mean, I guess Niv Mizzet is coming out next turn, if they so decide. I really should have kept that Deadly Rollick in hand to just kill Niv Mizzet. Niv Mizzet is just going to draw a shit ton of cards and deal a shit ton of damage to me. This is whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet deals 1 damage to any target. So if I get Narset out, that's good. That is really good if I get Narset out. So the Grinning Ignis, I can cast it 3 times. One with 1 red from my Mox, and then tap the Xander to bounce it back, and then replay it, and then tap the Gemstone Caverns to bounce it back and replay it. Not great. High Tide is a dark ritual at this point. I could be playing more just like straight up 2-card infinite combos in this deck, But really, the problem is every infinite combo I play usually doesn't synergize with the other cards. So for example, I am playing Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal, but Isochron Scepter is bad by itself. Dramatic Reversal isn't bad by itself. But still. Okay, so he is playing Niv Mizzet. Man, I jumped the gun way too early on that Deadly Rollick. I guess I didn't think that I'd be able to cast Abbadon so quickly. Does Flash take priority over Instance? What are you talking about? No. There's only one stack. So what kind of card does he have? What card does he have Flash in? He has 3 mana still. God damn. He might have that Hull Breacher card. So he's just straight up playing Ophidian Eye. Yeah, baby! Oh, this is why I love CEDH, when my opponents play responsibly. Oh, this is so painful. He doesn't know how this stack works. Nice, but does that go after? Okay, hold on. Okay, so stack question. Yes, this is why I love my opponents playing well. Also, we're gonna get a smash in for 9 points of damage on my turn. I mean, unless Abbadon dies. But that was so good. Niv Mizzet got killed, and we got rid of a combo piece, Ophidian Eye. So if you're not aware of the combo, Niv Mizzet, whenever they draw a card, they get a deal of damage to any target. And then Ophidian Eye says whenever the enchanted creature deals a damage to any target, or whenever the enchanted creature deals a damage to an opponent, you draw a card. So basically he can deal 85 damage among his opponents, draw 85 cards, and then I'm assuming he's going to have a Thassa's Oracle or something, because it's not going to be enough to kill all 3 players, so shoot 2 players, win with a Thassa's Oracle. Shoot 2 players at the end, deal like a damage to Niv Mizzet or something. Although the last player if he draws his entire deck, the last player could just play an instant and then force him to draw like in response to the Thassa's Oracle trigger, which I think is hilarious because it's not optional. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. Anyway, we're pretty likely to win on this turn. Oh, let's untap. Upkeep, draw. We drew another land, which is not great. We honestly probably want to just have it be a red card. So we're going to hold off on playing this land. So let's just go to combat. Smash in at the wizard guy. Is he... Oh, he's disconnected. We can fizzle. So all of these are 3 colors of mana, which is good. So we're going to use our colorless mana first to cast this Grinning Ignis, which is going to Cascade Trigger. So I'm just going to write it out in chat. Cascade Trigger. Oh, see, that Narset would have been good. So we needed a 2, 1, or 0 CMC spell. Okay, so Gitaxian Probe draws us a card. Let's just take a look at the blue player's hand, see if they have any counter spells. The Heliod player has a mana open, so they could play like a Path to Exile and exile my Abbadon, but it's unlikely. Wow. This guy is a good fucking hand. Mental Misstep is his only interaction though, which is good. He can counter a spell with CMC 1, which I don't have a ton of. Yeah, this guy is a good hand. But the only interaction that we have is, or the only interaction that he has on us is Mental Misstep, which is completely fine. I think I just play... Do I play a Felwar Stone here? Possibly. Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to play this Felwar Stone out. Cascade. Trigger. Ooh, an Ancestral Vision. Not good hit. Oh, shit. shit. Oh, goddamn, that's good. I have a Vampiric Tutor that can be countered by the Mental Misstep. I don't even know if I want a Windfall, to be honest. Like, maybe if I got a Narset out, I can tutor for the Burgie, and then play it with the Expressive Iteration. Like, I don't have that much mana left. I have 4 mana. Possibly get something with the Expressive Iteration. Man, this is a tough one. I think the first thing that I do is... I think at this point, I could play this Underground Sea to cast my Vampiric Tutor, because I'm likely to get something, right? And even if my Vampiric Tutor doesn't hit... So I'll cast this Mental Misstep. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I still do cast this Vampiric Tutor. Oh, Reforge the Soul would have been good. Mana Vault's good. I mean, I need a 0-drop, so... Oh, Lotus Petal's good, too. So that Vampiric Tutor is literally just a free spell. Better than a free spell. Basically filtered a black and blue mana to any type of mana. So now we could probably... Windfall? Or let's Expressive Iteration first. Okay, so this gives me one of any color too. This Felwar Stone is a free spell too. So let's just play this Expressive Iteration, which Cascade triggers. Gotta keep my Storm count up into a 1 or 0 costed card. Gut Shot. Yeah, so I'll Gut Shot your Ragavan. Okay, so move to bottom of library. And now we gotta look at... So basically they're out of interaction, but if we wheel, they can get a new hand. So we look at the top 3 cards of our library. So we oh, a Dockside Extortionist? That's a good card. Put one of them into your hand, put one, and then exile one. So we can exile the Grim Monolith, put Dockside into our hand, and put the island on the bottom of our library. So we're just going to have this in exile. This is slightly annoying. I'm going to have to cash in the Lotus Petal for Dockside. I want to play this Grim Monolith now, but then we're out of red mana. So I'll just cash in the Dockside. 1, 2, we will play Dockside Extortionist. Cascade trigger, Swamp, Crimson Wisps. We'll just give Grinning Ignis haste. And then we're going to draw a card. Oh nice, and it's Mox Opal. So then Dockside ETBs, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I count 5 unless you sack Petal. So I'm just going to make 1 and put 5 counters on it. And then I'm just going to also cast this Mox Opal. I can like reveal library to all players. Okay, so people are just scooping. I mean, that's fair. I don't really want to cast a wheel. I mean, I can just bounce my Grinning Ignis back to hand. Okay, so that's game. People conceded. Alright, so that's game 1. So you can see a very powerful deck. Okay, so let's go over the deck a little bit. So we have Yawgmoth's Will. We have all of the wheels that we can play. Windfall. We don't have Memory Jar, just because it's 5 mana. I guess it's fine. It's just not an instant or sorcery spell that we can like flash back with. I mean, it does. First of all, it doesn't discard our cards into the graveyard, which is worse for Past in Flames and Leer, which gives both of our spells flashback. and it also doesn't fuel our Underworld Breach game. So I'm running Thassa's Oracle and this Tainted Pact. Great, so this is the problem though. So we have Thassa's Oracle, which, wins the game. It combos with cards like Demonic Consultation, which can exile your entire library, and Tainted Pact. The problem with these two cards, they both have their own problems. So I like Tainted Pact better, but it doesn't work with all of these lands, with all of these basics that I'm running, because they have the same name. And Tainted Pact says, exile the top card of your library. You may put that card into your hand unless it has the same name as another card exiled this way. Repeat this process until you put a card into your hand, or you exile 2 cards with the same name, whichever comes first. So, ideally, you would build a deck with every card has a different name. If you play Thassa's Oracle, in response, you can cast Tainted Pact, exile your entire deck, and win the game with Thassa's Oracle trigger. The problem, obviously, is we have cards that have the same name. I like playing basics because they don't get wastelanded, they don't get blood mooned, they don't get back to basic. I can untap them. They're also fetchable. I like having a lot of islands because I play High Tide, which doubles the mana that I get from islands essentially in a turn. And in turns where you storm off, it's really nice to have a card like High Tide out, which also combos with Snap and Frantic Search, which untap my lands. So playing High Tide is a ritual. Playing Frantic Search and playing Snap, High Tide turns those cards into rituals as well. So I like playing islands. I could put in Snow basics, which would make it technically a different name, but essentially the same card. So I might consider tweaking it, just because Tainted Pact is a definitive win with Thassa's Oracle. And the problem with Demonic Consultation is, you might be saying, oh, why not just play Demonic Consultation? Because it can actually lose me the game. So with my commander, it gives all of my spells Cascade. If I cast it anything higher than a 1 mana spell and Cascade into Demonic Consultation, I have a chance of just losing the game on the spot. I cast Demonic Consultation, name a card, let's say I name Underworld Breach. I exile the top 6 cards of my library. Let's say that Underworld Breach was exiled. In those top 6, I just mill my entire deck, and then I lose the game on the spot. I don't have a Thassa's Oracle. All of my cards draw me more cards or make me mana, both of which would be useless if I have no cards in my library to play. So it's kind of like a game ender. It's a non-bow with Abbadon. Cascading into a Demonic Consultation when you don't have Thassa's Oracle out really fucking sucks. But Thassa's Oracle is still a win con in and of itself, and usually I can go off enough to win the game on the spot without Tainted Pact or Demonic Consultation. The only difference is I do like this Tainted Pact. I have a ton of tutors, which is really good with it. So I have Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Mystical Tutor. So it helps me set up the combo, and it's a way to win without Abbadon. So I might need to look into deck building to get rid of all of these basic lands while still maintaining. The problem is I would want lands with the island type on it that enter untapped, because lands that enter tapped I just can't deal with in CEDH. Other things that I want to add in Narset Pardor Veils, because I am wheeling so much. I don't want to wheel my opponents into responses that they can have to what I do. If I play a Narset and then my wheels are just one-way wheels. That's also why I want to put in Change of Fortune, because I am wheeling so much. I usually am discarding a bunch of cards, and then if I wheel into Change of Fortune, it's just a one-person wheel. Not to mention cards like Gamble and Faithless Looting, which up my discard count already. Other synergies, Bergie, extremely good. I have Stormkiln Artist, which makes me mana whenever I cast a non-creature spell, and then I also want to put in this Archmage of Emeritus, which draws me cards whenever I cast an instant or sorcery, which are like two sides of the same coin. Basically, this deck wants to draw cards and make mana, both of which these 4-drop creatures do. Grinning Ignis, as we saw in that game, is essentially a 1-mana card that can cascade you into... It's like a 1-mana spell that has a 3 CMC cost that can cascade you into other cards throughout your deck. Tutors. So, cards like Vampiric Tutor, Mystical Tutor, Imperial Seal, even certain other cards that I am not running because I don't want a critical mass of tutors, but cards like Scheming Symmetry, which tutor cards on top of your deck, are extremely good with Abbadon. So if I had this Vampiric Tutor out, what I would have done is tutored for Underworld Breach, bounced the Grinning Ignis to my hand, cast the Grinning Ignis, cascading into Underworld Breach. So a lot of the time, these cards that tutor for spells to the top of the library are card disadvantage, but in this deck, where every spell you cast is essentially 2 spells, they are parity, and they actually let you cast the spells for free, so they're better than Demonic Tutor in this deck. And then other cards, other like small synergies that you might not think of, are these free spells. So we have Ancestral Vision, which is a free spell, draws 3 cards. We have Profane Tutor, which tutors you a card. And we have Wheel of Fate, which draws you a bunch of cards. So the free spells that we have are card draw. I don't believe we have any free instant spells. We have card draw, and we also have mana, obviously. We have Chrome Mox, which isn't great. It's card disadvantage if you cascade into it. We have Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Mox Amber, which is, it's good when you cascade into it with Abbadon. Oh, forgot about Mana Crypt. Mox Opal, which is kind of bad if you don't have enough artifacts to trigger it. That's kind of painful cascading into. And Mox Diamond, which is good because a lot of the times when we draw lands, they're dead cards in our hand. Which is why we're running cards like Faithless Looting, and this Mox Diamond is good as well. Other than that, that's pretty much the deck. We have Aetherflux Reservoir to win as a backup land to the Sauce's Oracle. Usually we don't really need to choose one or the other, but if one gets answered or maybe exiled somehow while we're playing the game, we have the other one to back us up. Those are our strict win conditions. Other cards to get us there, like we have Bergie, which helps. We have Stormkiln Artist, which helps, and we have Archmage of Emeritus, which helps. We have Ad Nauseam, which usually our deck is not a straight up Ad Nauseam deck, even though we are running pretty much every piece of fast mana that we can get our hands on and every ritual. So it's a very good Ad Nauseam deck, but it's not like win the game on the spot when we cast Ad Naus. But when we do cast it, we usually will win the game on the spot. So that is a very good engine piece. And we are also running Mind's Desire, which is an extremely good engine piece. The cantrips that we are running, we are not running a ton of cantrips. Essentially, we are running Crimson Wisps and possibly Expedite. We have to talk about these for possible cuts, but they allow us to give Abbadon haste and smash in the turn we cast him. So if we get into the late game and people have interaction up, or there's like difficult board states to deal with, we can cast Abbadon, give him haste, attack, win the game on the spot. Haste is very good, it's underrated. Those are cantrippy because they replace themselves. We have Knight's Whisper just because it's a straight up 2 cards for 1 card and it's 2 mana. So 2 cards in our hand is pretty good. The value like feels good when you play it. It's a feel good card when you play it. We have cards that are free, like Gitaxian Probe and Gutshot, both of which are okay, but they get our storm count up. Usually they actually net us mana because they either are going to net us mana or cards because we are going to be cascading into one of our free spells, which is card draw, tutoring, or a wheel, or cascading us into free mana, which like the value just can't be understated. I think Gitaxian Probe is slightly better than Gutshot. There's not a lot of interactive pieces that sit out on the board that Gutshot actually deals with. It can kill like Mana Dorks, Ragavan, Rogrox, but it doesn't kill like a Collector Oof, or actually it might kill Spirit of the Labyrinth, the one that says you can only cast 1 spell each turn. Like some of those mono white cards. I'm gonna look this up. Okay, so it does kill a Spirit of... Oh wait, Spirit of the Labyrinth says each player can't draw more than 1 card each turn, which still hurts our deck. But we have Eidolon of Rhetoric, which is a 1/4, and that's out of range of the Gutshot. And Eidolon of Rhetoric says each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. So both of those fucking suck. So I might actually take out Gutshot because Gitaxian Probe actually replaces itself, and it lets us see the interactive pieces that our opponents have, which we don't know about. Gutshot doesn't do that much. And then other cantrips, Expressive Iteration, extremely good. It gets us 3 cards deep. It only really gives us 2 cards, but it still gives us 2 cards. 1 card goes to our hand. Cards in our hand are good because they trigger our Cascade from Abbadon. And then it exiles a card, which is not great. I think Expressive Iteration would be better if it was, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 2 into your hand, put 1 on the bottom of your deck. But it's still good. We can still utilize the exile effect. Essentially, if we have a card exiled, that allows us to cast a wheel without worrying about have to use it before the wheel, because we can still cast it. So it's okay. It's definitely one of the better cantrips. It goes really deep. 3 cards deep. That's good. Like I was thinking about using some other cantrips like Opt, maybe even a Prismari Command, a Shock. We have like Serum Visions, Preordained Ponder, like this Scry. You may be able to like scry a card to the top of your library and cast it. It's not amazing. So let's actually, I might actually do some cuts right now. Other engines, they're not necessarily win cons, but Bolas' Citadel, it's okay. It's definitely good, but it's like a worse version of a Commander, I might say. I mean, I think it's just a worse version of Underworld Breach too. Eye of the Storm, that's a very fun card. And then Thousand Year Storm is also very fun. But they're both just win more cards. So I'm going to take out Hullbreaker, Horror. Love all of these creatures. I do want to put in Leer too. It's not great, but it shuts off my opponent's counter spells. It is essentially another Past in Flames. I would say better. I think it's just a better version of Past in Flames. Mystic Remora I can take out. It's kind of pointless. It doesn't help at all while I'm going off. I do really like this Narset. Other cards I want to put in: Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship, and Chain of Vapor. I think Chain of Vapor is a good interaction piece. So this would be a good time to go through our interaction pieces. So how do we lose? We lose by getting our commander removed multiple times. As we saw in that game, we can survive getting our commander removed once just because we have so much fast mana in this deck. And we don't really need cards in our hand to be able to win. We only need like 1 or 2 castable spells, and we'll usually either wheel into more or cascade into more card draw or more mana, and then hopefully like draw into a wheel eventually. Yeah, so how does this deck lose? Getting our commander removed. That's pretty standard, but it's also doable to survive and like get past. Other ways we lose: Collector Oof really fucks with us. We can win through a Collector Oof. I've done it before in this deck. We have a lot of artifacts. It's not the end of the world if a Collector Oof sits out there, but it makes our deck way easier to function. Our deck functions way better without a Collector Oof. So, for example, like Stormkiln Artist makes treasures, Dockside Extortionist makes treasures, and then we have 21 artifacts in our deck. It also shuts off our Aetherflux Reservoir win condition. And then other ways we lose is just stacks pieces. Now, we can get grindy. We really can get grindy. We have our commander is a 5-mana 5/5 with trample that doubles up all of our spells. So if we shut off the double up, if players place things that shut off all of the double up spells, we still just have a 5/5 with trample and a shit ton of wheels and tutors. So we could just grind it out until we draw it into Thassa's Oracle and maybe a Tainted Pact if I edit the deck to be able to run a Tainted Pact. But that's the very lowest functioning that this deck can do while still being like semi-functional. And other decks are going to be able to grind us out way better than what we're going to be able to do. Like, this is not a... If we're trying to grind, we're not in a good space. So we need to be able to interact with lock pieces. So what lock pieces do we have? We have Deafening Silence. We have Rule of Law, Eidolon of Rhetoric, Spirit of the Labyrinth, just things that interact with our spell casting and our card drawing. If people cast opposition agents, that's fine. We don't need to tutor through our deck to be able to win. We have a lot of tutors which would get shut off with opposition agent, but it's still okay. So just interaction. What interaction do we need? We have Gutshot, which is a free spell. It's very good. But as we talked about before, I might want to take it out. We have a Tainted Pact, which is just bad in this deck. It doesn't function as we want it to function. We have a Narcissus Reversal, which I think I'm going to take out. And then I threw in a Chain of Vapor to bounce. It bounces anything. I mean, people can bounce our Abbadon back to hand, but... I mean, do we want... The fact that, like, our Abbadon can get bounced back to hand is pretty rough. Oh, I forgot. Change of Fortune. We might actually just put in a Cyclonic Rift instead of the Chain of Vapor. It's 1 more mana, which could mean something, but the fact that our Abbadon can get bounced back with the Chain of Vapor is very rough. And I think I'm actually going to take out this bonus round. It doesn't do enough for the 3 mana cost that I'm paying for it. Campbell, another good tutor for our hand. 28 lands. So we need to cut 1 card. We can always cut an Expedite. Like, these cards feel good when we have them in our hand and we're able to cast them. But when our commander isn't out, it doesn't feel great. So we have all of the free if you control a commander stuff. Fierce Guardianship, Deflecting Swat, and Deadly Relic. We have Force of Will. And we do have a Cyclonic Rift. We can get up to the overload cost on Cyc Rift. So let's hop into another game and see if these changes help our deck out. Okay, so let's go over some of the cards we have in our sideboard, like possibles. So we have Tezzeret, 5 mana, So it does, I mean, usually our spells are going to cascade with CMC 5 or less. It can untap 2 artifacts, so it might pay for itself if we have the right artifacts out. Extremely unlikely though. We can search our library for an artifact with CMC X or less, so 4 or less essentially. So it could grab us an Aetherflux Reservoir, but it's not, I don't want to be paying like 5 mana for an Aetherflux Reservoir when we could just wheel into it and pay 4. A backup Thassa's Oracle, I run this Jason Narset because we can't cast creatures off of Narset's ability. It's okay. We have more interaction, like an offer you can't refuse, Force of Negation, Mana Drain, just counter spells in general. I like Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast just because they're good. I might, if I play this deck a lot more and I find that I'm usually losing because of interaction, or because of lack of interaction on my end, I might look into finding cards that combo with my deck's main combo, but are also interactive pieces. So more cards like Prismari Command, which can deal 2 damage to any target or destroy an artifact, but it also creates me a treasure token, can draw me cards. I mean, that's kind of a bad example. I'm not playing with it for a reason. And shit, this hand is fucking good. Okay. This hand is ridiculously good. Okay then. We might win on turn... Okay, we cannot win on turn 1, can we? Okay, so we got a 4. The fastest I've won with this deck is turn 2. Turn 1, Watery Grave, Mana Vault, Felwar Stone, Jewel Lotus, Commander. Wait, does that work? That doesn't work, does it? So we're going 3rd. So we play Watery Grave, we play our Mana Vault. No, I don't think that works. We play Watery Grave, we play our Mana Vault, we play Felwar Stone. That is 2 mana, 1 of any color and a colorless. We could play our Jeweled Lotus, but we would need this colorless to be a colored mana. So we would also need to cast this Dockside Extortionist. So that's reliant on our opponent having a red land, which currently they do not. So this Felwar Stone, we need this Felwar Stone to tap for red. And we would need this Dockside Extortionist to create 2 treasures. So it's possible we get Abbadon out on turn 1. We just can't win on turn 1. That would give us 1 Desperate Ritual in our hand to trigger Abbadon with, and maybe 2 more cards, 1 for our first draw step and 1 for our second draw step. So we could have an Abbadon out with 3 spells in hand for turn 2, but it's a moot point anyway because the Dockside Extortionist doesn't give us any mana. Let's see what we draw though. If we draw a Signet, okay, Yawgmoth's Will, not a Signet. So this is turn 2 Abbadon. Oh wait, he did play a Mox Opal. I'm just gonna play it tapped. Mana Vault's better in our hand. We can still play Scalding Tarn. I mean, we misplayed that. I'm just not. What we should have done is played the Scalding Tarn, cracked it, fetched out the Triome that can tap for any color, and then cast our Commander on our next turn. That could come back to bite us. I hope it doesn't. I think it's fine. I mean, we'll fetch a red and a blue with this Scalding Tarn. So right now, this Felwar Stone can tap for red and black mana. So let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. Rogrock and Tavish Thought. 2 good commanders. I'm not a huge fan of either one though. I just think they're kind of boring. I like commander decks that are actually built around the commander and not just using the commanders for value. That's just the way I play CEDH. I think they make the deck a little bit more interesting. Yarok, the Desecrated. So 2 and... what even is that color combination? Sultai? black, green, blue. 3/5 Death Touch lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes the trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Whoa, you drew 3 cards? Okay, so they went off. LED, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal. Glad to know that this Dockside Extortionist is going to do some work when it finally comes into play. So, blue players, the only blue players we have is Yarok. Oh, nice, and a Mox Amber. I think I'm just going to play this Mox Amber on this turn. Let's just grab a Volcanic Island, and then we are going to play this Jeweled Lotus, crack the Jeweled Lotus, tap 2, cast our commander. I'm just going to play it. I don't know if this guy's responding to anything. It's fine, whatever. And then I'm going to just cast this Mox Amber. Okay, so the Spellware Song taps for every one of our colors now, which is good. So we have a lot we can do. Oh my gosh, this is a gross hand. Let's take a look at what our hand is. A ritual, a ritual, a ritual. Card to let us play cards from our graveyard. And like not a ritual, but still good. Oh my god, this hand is gross, man. I would like to have like a deflecting swat or something just to keep our commander alive. And then cards we have in our graveyard: Scalding Tarn, Jewel Lotus. Yawgmoth's Will says you may play you may play cards from your graveyard, so we can play both of those cards essentially. Desperate Ritual is going to our graveyard. Our other rituals aren't, because they stay out. But this is gross. This is really gross. Nice. So the Castle Golgari Signet makes our Dockside even better. What do I want to start out with? If I draw a land, I might play a land and Mana Vault. No, I might play this. I think I want to start off with this because I don't want to cascade into one of those free wheel cards. That would be unfortunate. Wow, this deck is kind of gross, man. So just use 6 mana for Professor Onyx. Oof. What does this even do? Alright, fine. So he killed my commander. He could just replay it this turn, I think. Nice. So he drew a Flooded Strand. So we're just going to crack that, I think, for just another blue and a red. So we'll just get a... We really just... Black is not super prevalent. I think we just play this Mana Vault. So our commander costs 7. Right now we have 4. And this Dockside Extortionist gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it gives us +3 mana. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 for Dockside Extortionist. And we're just going to play out our commander again. So this gives us 5 treasures. Okay. So it gives us 4 treasures. So then 1 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cast Abby. Who's the dancing queen? Young and sweet, only 17. Abbadon. I mean, that's the gross thing about our deck, man. We still have 3, possibly 4 cards in our hand. Still, though, I would like any one of our interaction pieces. Oh, Heuristic Study? That's good. They're going to be drawing a lot of cards. I don't know why they didn't tap their Golgari Signet, though. Heuristic Study is good, though. I'm not going to be paying for it at all. I don't even think this... For some reason, I feel like this player doesn't play a lot of CEDH. And the fact that it's a Yorok deck makes me think that it's like a quote-unquote fun deck for them. And just like Because a lot of times in CEDH, especially online, we just get people whose play group is like, your deck is too strong. And then they just decide, oh, people keep saying it's too strong. This must be like competitive tier. And then they come up and they realize that people are winning on like turn 2 and it's nowhere near being competitive. So for that, I mean, they very well could have force of will, but for that reason, I'm not going to be too concerned about them having a Rhystic Study. I feel like their deck isn't going to be the most interactive. I'm just scared about this Rogue Rock deck. Looks like they're kind of out of gas, though. Okay, so let's toggle normal untapping. I'm not going to be untapping that Mana Vault. Draw, we lose a life because of the Mana Vault. Oh, and now we draw our deflecting spot. So let's smash in though. I want to basically get all 6 points of damage in. So I'm going to go 5 to you, 1 to you. And honestly, if this Dockside died, that wouldn't be bad at all because I have this Yawgmoth's Will out. This Desperate Ritual and Fellwar Stone effectively cancel each other out and turn out to just be free. So I think I'm going to cast this Desperate Ritual first. So Cascade trigger, Rhystic Study. So my stuff triggers, their stuff triggers, Rhystic Study triggers, their stuff triggers. So I'm not going to be paying. And let's just see what I cascade into. Oh, an Ancestral Vision. How nice. And a Wheel of Fortune. And a Fierce Guardianship. All of those are good. Let's start keeping track of our storm count. So I definitely want to be discarding that. Can I play this Yawgmoth's Will? Because I would love to play this Yawgmoth's Will out. What if I just cast this Wheel of Misfortune now and see what happens? I think I'm just going to do that. Everyone can put in a number. I think my number is just going to be 8. Not paying. Cascade trigger. Let's see what I cascade into. Oh, nice. A Cabal Ritual. That is unfortunate because that would have allowed me to cast my Yawgmoth's Will. Which, it's fine. Even if my Wheel of Misfortune gets countered or doesn't trigger or whatever happens, I can play this Yawgmoth's Will, cast my Ritual, cast my Wheel of Misfortune again. So T-Daddy's definitely going to choose 0 because he has 8 cards in hand. So why would he just discard that? So I'm going to choose like 2. So Proa said 4, 0, 1. Oh my god, this hand is so good. Oh my god, this hand is good. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so everyone wheeled except for T-Daddy at Ponderman. I mean, free kill spell, free draw spell, free mana, makes all of my spells cheaper. Okay, this is disgusting. So I don't want to go into another wheel immediately, so I think I'm just going to cast my spells. So Mana Crypt, LED, I'm just going to say draw 2. So that guy scooped. Okay, interesting. I mean, I have to reveal my library to them because there's 0, so you go through your entire library. I can play this Helm of Awakening now. It's pretty good. I'm just going to keep my black mana up just in case. Helm of Awakening triggers that. Ooh, I would love to get a Narset out there. So I need a 2 or a 1. I got a Chrome Mox. You know what? That might be worth imprinting my Deadly Rollick. Nah, it's not worth it. Deadly Rock's a free spell. It's fine. This Chrome Mox doesn't need to tap for anything. I really like both of these cards. I mean, maybe I imprint my Gitaxian Probe because I'm going to play Time Twister. Nah, it's okay. I would rather keep spells and cards in my hand than just get mana out, because that's like the most difficult factor right now for me. So I'm going to do 1 for blue, 2, so 1, 2 for this Time Twister. So that's up to 9, Cascade. So I cascade into a Mox Opal, which I will cast. So you can draw again. In response to Twister, I'm just going to cast Deadly Rollick, targeting Magda, which is going to up my Storm count and get me a Dimir Signet, which is just another mana. A free spell that kills something and nets me a mana and gives me a Storm count. How nice. Then Time Twister resolves. Oh yeah, and I also want to crack this LED. What do I have in my graveyard? I guess this LED isn't worth it. I have a ton of mana, because I would have to crack it now and discard this, which would get me 2 more cards, right? Cascade into something, draw me a card for free. I don't have anything in my graveyard either that I can flash back, so the 3 mana that I don't get from it is fine. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, not to mention this Helm of Awakening. We'll just see if T-Daddy, I don't even know. It resolves. Okay, so I guess he's saying it resolves. Alright, great. So I'm going to shuffle my graveyard into my deck and then draw 7. Okay, this is basically over. Can I just win here? I mean, can my opponents... This game is so much easier when your opponents just scoop. So I don't even think I've played a land yet. No, I haven't, which it's fine. I gotta be careful about this, so I'm just gonna add a blue mana with my Dimir Signet. Let's just tap that for a red and cast Underworld Breach, because I don't want to cascade into a wheel and discard it. I want it on the battlefield. Okay, there, Rite of Flame. So that's 2 more. So that's a... Oh, wait a second. I forgot that my Helm of Awakening makes Underworld Breach only 1. I'm just going to Psych Rift the Heuristic Study back to hand. And let's see what we go. See what we flip into. Oh, a Brainstorm. That's really good. Yeah, I guess it's good. It's fine. It's not that... I mean, we're already winning. This game is basically over. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3. What do we even want, right? We can put a Demonic Tutor on top, cast Bergie into the Demonic Tutor. That's pretty good. And then what card do we want to shuffle away? Reforge the Soul is good. Yeah, I guess we want to keep Reforge. Reforge the Soul is okay. I want to keep that. This is a free spell. You can shuffle away Faithless Looting's good too. Whatever, I'll just put the mana back. We don't really need mana at this point. So I'll put the land and then Demonic Tutor, right? And then cast 1, 2 for this. Yeah, that's fine. For this Bergie, cascading into Demonic Tutor, which we can grab. So now there's going to be barely any interaction. So let's take a look at our library. What do we want to get? We could just grab this Grinning Ignis. Yeah, that's good. And then play this. Play this Sensei's Divining Top for free, which gives us mana. Cascades us into Profane Tutor. I mean, it doesn't even matter at this point. You know what? I'll just get a Storm Kiln Artist. That draws us another land. Or gets us another mana. I mean, we play Grinning Ignis for 2 mana, which nets us 1, which cascades us. Okay, response. I mean, we play this Fierce Guardianship, which... That's so stupid. The Fierce Guardianship gives us a mana. It also triggers Cascade, which gives us another mana, draws us 3 cards. Oh my god, this deck is disgusting. And then Grinning Ignis triggers Cascade. So that is 2 more spells. We cast this Imperial Seal targeting ourselves, which gives us another mana, tutors for another card. What do we even want at this point? Let's just get... Oh, no. This is going to be great. This is what we get. Yeah, I love how people just, like, scoop when they don't care anymore. And then I put this on top, and now look at this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Reforge the Soul. And look at what's on top, baby. A Narset. Narset resolves first. And then we each discard. You draw 0. I draw 7. Oh my god, dude. This is so gross. Oh, I don't even... Dude, I cast a wheel. Cascading into Narset. This is one of the most fucking disgusting things I've ever done. This is disgusting. Bro, the guy has 9 cards. And then I cascade a wheel into Narset. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes, this deck is gross. I might actually just retire this deck because it's gross. It's literally kill the commander on spot. Kill it on sight, but even that sometimes doesn't, like, solve your problem. Oh my god. Oh, if you guys want to see more of me playing this deck and other gross decks like it, please let me know. This is a lot of fun, but maybe too gross. I felt bad playing this. I feel bad for my opponents. Like, if you're not playing top level CEDH decks, you are going to get completely run over with this. Well, please let me know your thoughts on the deck down below. Do you think it's too gross? Do you think it's like I'm overreacting to how gross it is? That was casting a wheel into a Narset. Like, I don't think you can get a better play pattern than that. That was beautiful and disgusting all at the same time. Then let me know if you want to see more. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I hope you all have a great day.